Now, broadcaster Paul Henry has taken a swipe at our national airline, saying it's failing its customers. He says Air New Zealand offers the very highest prices for minimal service, and he wants the CEO and chair to go. To explain more, he joins me now live from London. Good evening, I'll say to you, Paul. How are you?
Yeah, good morning, Melissa. It's great to be on. You know, all I really want is for the chair and the CEO to acknowledge that they have dropped the ball. They are dropping many balls, and to apologise to their owners, you and me.
And if they do you believe that they are the right people to lead the airline?
Probably not. They've proved not to be. I mean, how did they not predict that this is what was going to happen in the world? How did they not predict that after being tied down for 2 years, New Zealanders might want to ring them, might want to book a seat to go to another country, might not want to be charged 3 times in some cases what seats were prior to COVID. Actually, in some cases, more than 3 times.
And you're in the jet set crew. Are you finding a different experience with other airlines?
Oh, absolutely, 100%. I mean, I haven't flown on all other airlines, but they're operating business as usual. Here's the thing with Air New Zealand. I haven't got it in for them. I've been a huge supporter of Air New Zealand over the years, but they're not a normal airline. They're a national carrier. They're our national carrier. They have extra obligations to us than they do to anyone else, and they are behaving in an entirely entitled manner. You know, this is what, in the piece that I wrote, I was talking about the difference between business and good business. Good business, when things go badly, is looking after core assets. It's looking after the core business. And that's travellers like me. And I have not been looked after. I have been financially raped by the airline, but I've allowed it to happen because, like everyone else in the country, we understand the pressure they've been under. God only knows they've told us enough in all of their emails to us. But now we expect some payback for that.
They might say, Paul, that they've had, a lack of clear and early guidelines from the government.
Oh, and they have had that. But they're running a business. We all, you know as well as I do, Melissa, that this is entirely what our government was going to do. They were going to stick their head in the sand and wait until the second coming before they respond to COVID like the rest of the world does. And what I'm talking about is responding to the end of COVID. But it is for Air New Zealand as a large international business, it is for them to be able to handle these things. And that is where a good chair and a good CEO would have been able to anticipate what was happening and not left us in the lurch. You try and book a flight now to Australia, or more importantly, you try and get a flight to the United States in June or July. You know, for an economy flight, you could be paying $5,000 return.
Yeah, it's
After
ridiculous.
waiting all this time, how could they not have enough seats for us? How could they not have enough people to answer the phone?
Well, the national leader, Christopher Luxon, says, look, they're great people. They're making their very best effort. They're trying as hard as they can. What do you say to that?
Oh, God. Oh, no, stop. Melissa, stop. If he becomes Prime Minister, is that how he intends to run the country? Oh God, it looks like child poverty's gone up. Oh, the people we've got are great people. They're trying as hard as they can. He better do better than that if he wants to be Prime Minister.
Paul, do you think when you get back in your Premier seat in Air New Zealand, if you do, there's still going to be that welcome Paul sign there for you, in your in-flight entertainment?
I have never. I mean, to be honest with you, Melissa, if they treat me any differently because of what I've written, because of what I say, then they're even worse than I thought they were. I've never had any problems at all once I get on the plane. And I have a lot of friends who are premium passengers like I am. This is core business. What Air New Zealand will rely on to pay the fuel bill, and they've dropped the ball with it. A lot of the customers that I know that they've got, who are friends of mine, who spend a lot of money with the airline, are very, very disappointed with the in-flight experience. I've always been looked after very well on the planes, but there's a lot more to running an airline than having someone sit in one seat heading to LA once.
Paul, it's Ryan here. Tell us, because we're all obviously being grounded in a cave for the last 2 years, been nowhere. Who are you flirting with in terms of airlines? Who's looking good out there post-COVID?
I'll tell you a funny thing, Ryan. This is a really funny thing. But United to me, that's always been like a pox on your country, you know. I've had the worst flights in my life on United, and I only fly United when I absolutely have to. But because of a certain selection of circumstances, I was on United from LAX to Heathrow about a week ago. And you know what? It was a great flight. Everything about it worked. Everything about it was open. I haven't been in an Air New Zealand lounge for almost 3 years. And unlike you, and unlike most people, I didn't stop flying. I continued to pay absolute top dollar for absolute minimum service from Air New Zealand and virtually zero communication. But I sucked all of that up until the other day when I heard the CEO being interviewed, and Greg Foran spent all of his time talking about how great the lie-down seats are going to be in 6 years' time or whenever they build these things, how Air New Zealand is going to be the best airline in the world one day. But he wasn't challenged on why I can't buy a seat at a reasonable price if I can buy one at all to get to Los Angeles, why people have to change their plans around Air New Zealand to get to Sydney. You know, that is totally unacceptable. And for them to turn around now and say, oh, we're going to advertise for staff for the call centre, you know, too little too late, guys. You need someone who can actually run an airline in there.
Broadcaster Paul Henry, hey, I hope you have a very pleasant flight wherever you are going to in the world next. And when you come back here, come and see us. Nice to talk to you this morning live from London.
Thank you very much. Thanks.